muscle actions. So skeletal muscles generate a large variety of body movements. The action of each muscle is going to be dependent upon the type of joint it's associated with and the way the muscle is attached on either side of that joint. When bones or body parts move, the bones and muscles are acting as levers. There are four basic components to any lever, as I'm sure you remember from physics. There is a rigid bar or rod. In this case, that will be the bone. The fulcrum or pivot on which that bar moves, that would be the joint in the case of body movements. There is an object moved against some resistance. In that case, it would be the weight that we need to move. And there's the force that supplies the energy for the movement, and in this case, that would be the muscles. So we have resistance, force, and fulcrum to keep in mind, and there are different types of levers based on where the force is applied in relationship to the fulcrum. So we use movement to lift our hand. Here we would pull down on our hand. One end of a skeletal muscle is fixed, the other is more movable. It's going to pull a bone towards one end. That origin would be the less movable end. The insertion is on the bone that is going to move. When a muscle contracts, the insertion is always pulled towards the origin. So all the movements we think of, there has to be a way to explain them as a pulling force. Most skeletal muscles function in groups, and the roles of the muscles in those groups for a particular movement, and it's clear that it's a particular movement. Is an agonist would be a muscle that causes an action. A prime mover would be the agonist that is primarily responsible for that movement. Synergists are muscles that help with the prime mover. And then an antagonist is a muscle that's contraction would oppose the movement of the prime mover. Now again, it's important for you to realize these are specific to a particular movement. A muscle can be a prime mover in one movement and an antagonist in another movement. In fact, that is often the case. Alright, that's kind of a brief intro to muscle movements, but that's okay because the next couple of sections are pretty long.